get a certificate for staying quiet. How are you? You cook very well.
Oh, really? I'm so glad you like it.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You took attendance? 46. Tasmat karanat न जीवेश्वरयोः भेद बुद्धिः स्वीकार्या. Svikarya means accept, to be accepted. What is to be accepted? The difference between Jiva and Ishvara should finally be accepted, right? No, because there is a na there. Na means no. Where is the na? It is hidden. Because tasmat karanat, it starts with na. Na jiveshwarayoho bheda buddhi kadapi na svikarya. At any time, one must not give in to this feeling, I am separate. Yeah, when the separation, comes, do everything to ward it off. What is this everything? Listen to the 1 month course again from the beginning. Then it will become 2 month course, 3 month course. Yeah. Listen to the 1 month course again, because this thing, this just needs reminder. We need Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Mananam is removal of doubts. Shravanam is listening. And Nididhyasanam. Usually doubts are not there anymore, because people have been keeping on coming and listening for some time. So doubts are almost gone. But Nididhyasanam, so when you listen next time, it becomes a Nididhyasanam. First time when you listen, it is Shravanam, means you're really actually listening. Next time when you listen, you know what is going to be said. You may even be able to anticipate the cat-man joke, but but it becomes a form of remembering that which one can forget, easily. Forget means what? It's not memory based, but it's not being able to abide in this truth, because there are so many other orientations that drag one away from this teaching. The teaching is crystal clear in the classroom, and then after that, what, who, where, how. This is why it says na svikarya. Whose hands is it to not accept the Jiva Ishvara difference? Bhagavan's hands, right? If Bhagavan wants me to, I'll have Veda Buddhi, means I'll just always be plagued by the difference. If God hasn't ordained it, how will I get this knowledge? Yeah, see, even in the talking, there is like, No. This is where the will is exercised. Yeah. The other places, wherever the will is exercised, it's not a will, it's a want. Yeah, because I don't want to do this, I don't, it's all ragadveshas. Here is alone the place for the will. And therefore, never accept this difference. What is the tasmat karanat? The tasmat, the therefore was from what we learned earlier. What did we learn earlier? Is that evam upadhi bhedat jiveshwarayoho bheda drishtya दृष्टि यावत् पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति तावत् पर्यन्तं जन्म मरण आदि संसारः रूप न nivartate, until which time the difference between the jiva and the Ishvara is ensconced in the heart. Until then samsara is here to stay. Until then samsara, what will it not do? It will not go away. Therefore, right from the beginning, we make a vow, I am not going to accept this difference between Jiva and Ishvara because this difference is apparent. This is what one has to do. Now, how to do that is going to be expressed, but before there is one Nanu. Nanu means an objection. Nanu Sahankarasya Kinchidnyasya Jivasya Nirahankarasya Sarvajnasya Ishvarasya Tattvam Asi Iti Mahavakyat Katham Bheda Buddhihi Abheda Buddhihi Syat Ubhayoho Viruddha Dharma Akrantatvat. Yeah, long sentence. Nanu means there is an objection. And what is Nanu saying? Nanu means, this fellow who doesn't have any other work, the quintessential doubter. Sahankara. Ahankara we know, right? What is this Sahankara? Ahankarasya Ahankarena sahatisthate. That the one that always is along with Ahankara. Who is with the Ahankara? Ahankara means what? Ahankara means what? I notion attached to the body, mind, sense complex. Correct? Sa Ahankara means Ahankarena sahatisthate. The one that it's a kind of a way of economizing the words. Instead of saying the one who always misidentifies with the Ahankara. How many words? 8 words. Sahankara, 1 word. This is how Sanskrit is like. It's all very, concise, precise. So the one who lives along with Ahankara is called Sahankara. So Sahankarasya, for this fellow, for this Jiva who is always ready to fight. Why is he ready to fight? He means the word Jiva is male, masculine. Why is this Jiva always ready to fight? Because cannot take even the slightest thing. That's ornery. Jiva means ornery. Ornery means what? Always ready to just somehow everything is wrong. Even if somebody says your mouth is below your nose. No, it's not. What do you mean my mouth is below? I'm different. This is Jiva. This is Sahankara. And then, Sahankarasya. So this is the qualifications for the Jiva. Means the description of the Jiva. One is always keeps the Hankara as a close friend by the side. Number 1, please don't go away. You are my defender. You are my protector. You misled I notion. You are the one to protect me. Saying so, walks along with the shadow of the Hankara. Then the next one is Kinchidnyaha. Kinchidnyaha. Which is the opposite of Sarvajnyaha. Sarvajnyaha means what? All knowing. Kinchidnyaha means by mistake knows a few things. Accidentally knows a few things. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A to Z, one knows all the alphabets in 2 languages. Now Sanskrit also. And then what? The Jiva waits for the prize. Thinks I'm all knowing, but Kinchidnyaha means, by mistake knows a few things. Yeah, here and there. Kinchit means very little. Yeah. So this little knowing fellow, so what is the first one? The one who is covered in Ahankara, You know, like for the goddess, we have all these gold kavacha, you know, yeah. And for the jiva, we have ahankara. Ahankara crown, ahankara hands, ahankara feet. This is what it is, yeah. That is the covering. Kavacha is ahankara. Yeah. That's why in Karanyasa, when we do, we say Kavachaya hum. With this Kavacha, take it away. This with these protective tendencies, we don't need. No defense, no offense, no nothing to need it, you know, because you are the only thing there is. You're not under attack. But this Kinchit Gyaha doesn't is firmly convinced I am the one under attack. So Kinchit Gyasya. And who is this Ahankarasya Kinchit Gyasya? Jivasya. For this jiva. What for this jiva? You know, so this is the jiva side. Now he is describing Ishvara, who the objector. Nirahankarasya. So sahankara means what? With ego. Nirahankara means without ego. That is why Ishvara can sit through 1008 names, no problem. You say Sahasranama, you say you are the greatest, you are the best, east or west. That is one more nama. Without you, the world doesn't run. And Ishvara sits fine. Ishvara doesn't get a swelled head. Why? Because there is no ego. Yeah. Because the limitless, if you praise the limitless limitlessly, is the limitless, can the limitless become more limitless? No. And if you don't praise the limitless, will the limitless become less limitless? No. For both the answers is no. For the limitless amounts of praise also make no difference. So nirahankarasya. What's the next word? Sarvajnasya. Yeah. So who is Sarvajna? Opposite of this Kinchajnaha. Kinchijnaha. So the Kinchijnaha means little knowing. And that is contrasted with Sarvajnaha, all knowing. For this all knowing fellow, and so the two contrasts are there. On the one hand, there is a Jiva. Who is this Jiva? Lives with the ego. And then what else does the Jiva do? Little knowing. And then finally Jiva, full of peeves, Piva. And then what? Contrasted with living without ego, the one who is all knowing without ego. This is who? Ishvara. So between these two, then how does the Tattvamasi Mahavakya? What is the Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is a sentence that reveals, demonstrates the identity between the Jiva and Ishvara. That is called Mahavakya. Inelegantly often translated as great sentence. Yeah. Not great sentence, it is just that which reveals the identity. It's called Mahavakya. That sentence, any sentence that reveals the identity between Jiva and Ishvara is called what? Mahavakya. So the question for this objector is not a bad fellow. You know, he's not trying to bring the whole teaching down. What is he trying to do? Just understand it properly. So he says, how come this Mahavakya which says you are that, you are Ishvara. Tat means Ishvara. Tat, or the word Tat always means Ishvara. Tat. Tat means Ishvara. Why? Because Jagat Karanam, the cause of the universe. And Tat means that. Why is Ishvara referred to by that? Because of our ignorance, we cannot refer to Ishvara as this. It's always remote somewhere. So Tvam, this you are that alone. So that is referred to Ishvara. Tvam is you, Asi is you are. Not Bhavishyasi, you will become. Not Asit, you were. Now you are Ishvara. Right now, right here, you are Ishvara alone. This is the teaching. So this Nanu is wondering, this fellow is wondering, indeed, how can this be the case when the Jiva has those two qualifications? What is that? Lives with ego. What is the second one? Kinchit knowledge. Means kabhi kabhi, little bit knows. Yeah, little bit knows. Thinks he knows a lot. Why? Because of that first qualification, lives with the ego. Yeah, but you see, nowadays everything is so specialized. No matter how much you know, there is more to know. Correct? And that's why, you know, there are people called these podiatrists. So you go to the podiatrist and the knowledge is only up to the feet. And then you say, I have an ankle problem, then you have to go to an ankleologist, then you have to go to a kneeologist, you know, like that. It's everything is so specialized. So kinchit jnana, the knowledge is becoming more and more fragmented. So this jiva, who even though the jiva may be well qualified, still kinchit jnana. And so these two, the jiva endowed with these two qualifications is here equated to Ishvara, who has no ego. And then what is the other one? Who is all knowing. And the question is, how does this Mahavakya operate? Ah, especially when we are talking of two things that are completely opposite, not different. Opposite dharma, viruddha dharma, akrantatva. Akrantatva means because of the attack of the viruddha dharma. Because one is, small knowing, one is got a mistaken identity, one is so full of, ahankara, the mistaken I notion, identifies as that. The other one is all knowing, no ego, completely, the truth of everything. And how can this jiva be Ishvara as taught by the Mahavakya? Interesting question. And the answer is very good, So he says, Iti chet na sthula sukshma sharira abhimani tvam pada वाच्यार्थः उपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम् समाधि दशा सम्पन्नम् शुद्ध चैतन्यम् त्वं पद लक्ष्यार्थः. Yeah. So the thing is what? Now this contention that all this, as though contention here is that the contradictory qualities possessed by Jiva and Ishvara make them different enough, not only different enough, but opposite to one another to be ever even identified, is dismissed. This particular contention is dismissed by saying, when I say Jiva, the teacher says, there are two levels of understanding. One is Sopadhika Jivasya Vivaranam, and the second one is Nirupadhikasya Jivasya Vivaranam. You know, what is gobbledygook? What am I saying? Upadhina saha vartate, sopadhi, So the one that, there are two descriptions of the word jiva, two understandings gained by the word jiva. The first understanding and the most common understanding upheld by all is what? The one that is endowed with the upadhi. What is upadhi? I'll take a nap till the answer comes. Huh? What is upadhi? As though what? And as though conditioning agent. Yeah. So this upadhi means that which is like a frock or a cloth, worn by this entity. That is any entity, anything that limits, a limiting adjunct or a limiting conditioning, thing that which limits this jiva. Anything that does that is called upadhi. So the jiva is at the upadhi level. So there are two descriptions of the word jiva. The jiva has to be understood in two ways. One is sopadhika. Sopadhika means along with the upadhi. Along with the upadhi, what? Sthula, gross. Sukshma. Sukshma means what? Subtle. And then included also, even though it's not mentioned, is karana. Sthula, Sukshma, and subtle and causal bodies. The one who identifies, Abhimani, is the one who is identified with the gross and the subtle bodies. Prana, hunger, I am hungry, one says. One doesn't say I am the observer of hunger. Yeah. Because if you say that, nobody will feed you. They'll say, okay, keep on observing the hunger. I'm the observer of hunger. Nobody says. What do you say? I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I'm tired. This is the subtle body identification. And gross body identification. I'm thin. I'm tall. I'm fat. You know. I have this. I have that. So all this gross body identification, subtle body identification, these two, the one who is identified strongly with the gross and the subtle bodies is the meaning of the word you. So when I say you, what do you understand? Me. And then when you say me, you touch the body, right? Everybody does that. You say me. So I say you, and what do you say? Me. And who is this me? Kinchidnyaha. Sahankaraha, Jivaha. This is what I understand, correct? And who is this you? The you means the one who is identified with the gross and the subtle bodies. And that is the direct, vachya, spoken word, arthaha, the direct meaning of the word you. What is the direct meaning of the word you? This nobody has to even think, because this is what is understood. The direct meaning of the word you is what you already understand. What do you understand? I'm 5 foot this many inches tall, and I have several chips on my shoulders, and I don't like my life, and I don't like other people's lives either. And this is this me. I know only so much, and I am this body. I am as good as this body. I have this mind. I have this thing. I'm kinchit gyaha. I know little, and I am just in my own bubble, and this is this me. Correct? That is the direct meaning of the word you, the one who is in a bubble. Yeah. Then the teacher takes a pin. What does the teacher do? Prick the bubble. And then what? The bubble doesn't even leave a residue. That's the beauty of the bubble, because the bubble is mithya. It's a mithya bubble. When one is bubbling in anger, it's mithya. So just bubble. And when you prick the bubble, it leaves no residue. That's how you know it is not subtle. So the direct meaning of you are that. When the direct meaning of the word you is what? As good as this body, as good as this mind, as good as this, ignorance. Jiva is me. The one who cries. Yeah. Instead of woe is me, they say Jiva is me. Even grammatically, it's correct. Yeah. So, Jivoham, Jiva is me. I am Jiva. I have all these problems, and they are all real. I am as real as the problems. How am I going to get out of this? This is the direct meaning of the word you. Meaning that when the word you is evoked, this is what is understood. And this is what is meant by the word you. Right? Yeah. And but that's not over, because that's only half the story. Thank God, otherwise we need not even go further. We need not even go further. And then, so the next meaning of the word is what? The next meaning of the word is, you is, upadhi vinirmuktam, free of the body, mind, sense complex. After death, right? When I'm 99, right? No, now. Now I'm free of the body, mind, sense complex. Yes, that's very complex. Yeah, that's why it's called body, mind, sense complex. Even while you are in it, you are free of it, because the body, mind, sense complex is satyam or mithya? Mithya. Mithya means what? It depends on that consciousness. It is a projection of that consciousness. It's a mayic projection. So even though, if you prick, you will say ow. If you do something to the skin, you will say ow. The saying ow is as mithya as the hurt on the skin. So, therefore, what happens is that this body mind sense complex cannot contain the containless, that which cannot be contained ever. How can it be contained in the body, mind, sense complex? Because it's like saying, I have trapped some space in this pot. Is the space trapped? Huh? Well, because the fact that we are saying space is inside the pot is itself wrong. Because what is in pot? Well, pot is in space. And we trap space all the time. We first make a foundation, and then what do we say? I'm going to build my house here on this. And then you take some people, and then all the sticks are up, and everything here is made of sticks. It's just amazing, these houses. Really? Yeah, I was telling you yesterday. It's just really amazing. And then, then after 2 weeks, you go to take some other friend to your new home that's being built. And then before it was all just a platform. What was the concrete platform? Called foundation. And then the next week when you went, it had one enclosure, correct? On the foundation. Then 2-3 weeks later you go, then you can show the people, this is the bedroom, this is the bathroom. What bathroom? What bedroom? Yeah. What bathroom? What bedroom? This is the guest bedroom. How? It's just one open space. But here we have made these little stick, like it's like playing with the Lego set. You make these divisions, and then you put a roof, and then you say, this is house. And then you say, I need some time alone. I'm going to my bedroom, and I'm closing the door. It's so funny. It's so funny because all that is space. It's just space. Can you put space inside a room? No. Room is in space. That within which everything is cannot be in anything. Yeah. So these are all artificial. The walls are mithya. And this, anybody who's a flat owner somewhere in New York knows this. Yeah. Swamiji was asked to, bless somebody's flat. And, skyscraper. So he went and he said, so how does this work? So you own the building? No, I just own this flat. Which part of the flat you own? You own the walls? No, the front walls belong to the cooperative society, the outer walls. Yeah. Oh, so you own the inner wall. No, this wall is actually that fellow's bathroom next door. So you own the ceiling. No, that is the upstairs wala's floor. Oh, so you own the floor. No, that is the downstairs fellow's ceiling. What do you own? The space. For that you pay so much, hundreds of thousands of dollars for owning that which you cannot own. Can you own space? Only if you're spaced out, you can own space. Yeah. So it's all this. This is what it is. So the upadhi, it cannot, just like the upadhi of small pot, take that out. Today we need, all this time I had let him go. There we go. So the upadhi, bheda, the difference in the upadhi is like small pot, medium pot, big pot, correct? Yeah, they're getting very nervous. Middle one is very nervous. Middle one is saying, what are you doing to me? Yeah. Because it's not being held by the hands. Yeah. So the small pot, medium pot, big pot is upadhi for the space. Yeah. And much less is space trapped in it right now. And much less is space going to come out when I go like this. I'm emptying the pot. Yeah. The Mudha said. What is Mudha? Yeah. Yeah. The foolish fellow said. Murkha said, Murkha is same as Mudha. So Murkha said, I'm emptying the pot. Why? Because, this poor space is trapped in the pot. So I have to empty the pot. And then he says, ow, why? Because I emptied the pot so hard, I got a cramp. So was the space, tied up in the pot? No. And so can you empty the pot of space? No. Is the space freaking out? Let me out, let me out. No, right? Say no. Then why are you freaking out? That's my question. Space is not freaking out. Yeah, why? Because space knows it cannot be contained. So this body is like the pot. Yeah. So now this becomes the smallest pot. Then this becomes a little bigger pot. Correct? This becomes the medium sized pot. Why? This pot is the biggest of all. And why am I calling this body pot? Because there are lots of similarities between body and pot. Body has pot belly. That's why. See? So many similarities. So what is this body is like a pot. And then what does it contain? Don't say space. It contains that which cannot be contained, which is that conscious principle, which is in everything, which is in the flower, which is in the fruit, which is in the air, which is in the water, which is in the fire, without which nothing can exist. That's the same thing that as though populates this body mind sense complex too. In fact, the whole body is nothing but that consciousness. The mind cannot shine without that consciousness. The senses cannot function without the consciousness. It is the eye of the eye. It is what makes one see. It is the ear of the ear that makes one hear. It is the taste of the taste. It is the touch of the touch. It is the mind of the mind. It is the digestion of the digestion. It is everything. It is because of which the body can exist, the body can function. It is that which as though is housed, and big as though is housed in this body, just like the space is as though housed in this pot. Yeah. So if you do a headstand, will the consciousness come out? like emptying this pot. Shirshasana. It won't come out. Why? Why it won't come out? Because it is not trapped to begin with. It is in this body. It is this body. It is, the body is nothing but this. It is outside this body. It is not entailed in any way by this body. Yeah. Entailed, Yeah. It's not confined in any way by this body. It's not troubled by this body. So whatever is happening to the body is not happening to that at all. And that is what is called Nirupadhika Jiva. The Jiva which is pot belly less. Potless, meaning the body mind sense complex is not the whole story of the Jiva. The Jiva is body mind sense complex plus the consciousness, which is the projection, which is the body mind sense complex, is a projection of that consciousness. So Jiva means two things, not just this body mind sense complex. That is not doing justice to the Jiva. Even though the immediate meaning of the words you, immediate meaning of the word you is, oh poor me, woe is me. Correct? And I'm as good as this body, the one who's associated with the ahankara, with the body, with the mind. Even though that is the immediate meaning of the term you, there is another part of that you which is forgotten. Yeah. Just like when we look at the pot, we forget the space, correct? So when you look at the body, one forgets what is this driving force of this body. What is that conscious Ishvaric principle that drives everything, including this body mind sense complex? That which this imperfect body houses, this infallible, that is forgotten. And so the indirect meaning of the word you, which is what? Jiva, is what? Here, let us read that. Upadhi vinirmuktam, free of upadhi. Free of upadhi when? After death, right? No, now itself. When this you will be happy to understand. Samadhi dasha sampannam, that which is by nature able to be non-dual. That is the Jiva. That is the definition of the Jiva. It can be non-dual by nature. When you sleep, there is non-duality. No duality in sleep. And when you are in a state of, meditation, there is no duality. Samadhi. Samadhi dasha sampannam. Sampat means awarded, rewarded, endowed with the ability to be non-dual. It's not, and then what is this? Shuddha Chaitanyam, pure consciousness. There's nothing other than consciousness, and that is the indirect meaning, the oft forgotten meaning of the word you. So the direct meaning of the word you is what? I'm as good, the one who's as good as the body, mind, sense complex, the one who's identified with the ahankara, the one who's identified with the body, mind, sense complex. That is called the direct meaning of the word you. The indirect meaning of the word you in the words Tat Tvam Asi is what? The one who is free of upadhi even while living in the upadhi, and the one who is what? And the one who is able to, the one who is naturally non-dual. There is no duality in one. The one who is free of duality, number two, and the one who is nothing but that consciousness which powers this body, mind, sense complex, which has entered this body, mind, sense complex. So that is the indicatory meaning of the word you. Okay, let us look at the other side now. Evam sarvajñatva adi vishishtah ईश्वरः तत्पदवाच्यार्थः. Yeah. So likewise, when you take the word tat, tat also has two meanings. See, if tvam has two meanings, tat also should have two meanings. It's only fair, right? So the word tat has two meanings, and they are also what? Direct and indirect in nature. So the direct meaning of the word tat is what? Sarvajnaha, the one who knows everything, the one who is the cause of this jagat, in whose hands the jagat spins, the one in who has jagat for breakfast when the jagat is decided to be resolved, the one who is all knowing. Adi means etc. Etc. means we have to think of a few more things that it's trying to say. Sarvajna, Sarvavit, the one who knows everything in particular, the one who is the truth of everything, the one who is in charge of all the laws, the karmic law that unfolds infallibly, the physiological law, the anatomical law, the law of seasons and climates. And the law is so infallible that even the so-called disorders are part of the order. Yeah. That is very hard to accept, right? But that is true. It's true. Yeah. Disorder is just me not accepting it. So I have to have a name for that. It doesn't look nice to say non-acceptance, because non-acceptance, secretly speaking, is only resistance. So nobody likes to say I am in resistance. So we say there is disorder. so so that infallibility, that Ishvara, is the direct meaning of the word Tat. Yeah. So just as the direct meaning of the word Jiva is what? Means look at this mess. Means how long I'm going to have this complaint. Complaining fellow. Direct meaning of the word you, and direct meaning of the word Tat, the one who inhabits the temple, the one who inhabits everything, the one who is just completely free, doesn't have, absolute powerful, this conscious being which has an upadhi. What is the upadhi of Ishvara? Don't go there. Yeah, what is the upadhi of Ishvara? Jagat Karta, the maker of the Jagat. That is one upadhi of Ishvara. What is another upadhi of Ishvara? Sarvajnaha, all knowing. And what is another upadhi of Ishvara? You can keep going. This is fun actually. So Ishvara is like an oceanic upadhi. All the 108 names are upadhis of Ishvara. All the 1008 names are upadhis of Ishvara. And upadhi by itself is what? Real or mithya? Mithya. So the upadhi of Ishvara is that which is the cause of the universe, that unto which everything resolves, that which sustains this whole universe, that which is all knowing. So the jiva has a limited upadhi. Ishvara's upadhi is limitless. If the whole jagat is nothing but Ishvara, then what? Then the whole, you can say that the upadhi, jagat is also an upadhi of Ishvara. Yeah, but not the only upadhi. Also an upadhi. So the jagat itself is the upadhi of whom? That's why we say, in the Purusha Sukta, it says, Purusha evedagam sarvam. All this is the Purusha alone, is that Ishvara. And who is this Ishvara? Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha. The Purusha is the one of 1,000 faces, 1,000 heads. Which are these heads? Every head is its head. Yeah. And so if there are 1,000 heads, how many eyes? Tell me. Yeah. Sahasrakshaha. 3,000? So, Sahasrakshaha. Then how many feet? 1,000 feet? 2,000 feet? Sahasrapat. Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva. Having inhabited this whole Jagat, the waking world, everything, the whole cosmos. Atyatishtat. Transcends that also. Dashangulam. At least by, many, it's just in the human imagination, transcends it, meaning the Jagat is Ishvara, Ishvara is not the Jagat. Purusha evedagam sarvam yadbhutam. Who is this Puruk? The one who was before. Yeah. Yadbhavyam. That which was to come is Purusha alone. That which was Bhagavan alone, which is to come. And by inference, the present is also nothing but Purusha. Yeah, and then it's described as the eyes, the face of this Purusha. What are the eyes? If the whole cosmos is the being, what are the eyes? Yes, very close. The sun, we use the big celestials. The sun, if we were in another planet where Betelgeuse was our sun, we would say Betelgeuse. Yeah. So the sun is one eye. What is the other luminous body? Moon is another eye. And the lightning or the fire is the third eye. All the celestial bodies we take. Yeah, those are the eyes. If the what's that? This is the eyes. What is, we always go to the temple and say, what is the goddess going to be wearing today? Now, what is this cosmic being going to be wearing? What is the clothes? Very, very close. Expand on it a little bit more than weather. In fact, we were talking about it. When space is the dhoti for whom? Space. How can you wear space like a sari? Yeah. You cannot. You cannot wear space like a sari. You have to say sorry. But for Bhagavan, the dhoti is space. Sari is space. Yeah. So that's why it's called Digambara. Dik means that direction. Space is the clothing for whom? That is what it says. So the three eyes are this thing. And then what is the mouth? The galaxy is the mouth. Yeah. That's why baby Krishna. This is a very nice story. Baby Krishna was eating mud, had some magnesium deficiency, and in those days there were no 72% dark chocolates. So the closest thing he could eat was what? Mud. Children often eat that. Chalk, they eat mud, they eat. Some deficiency was there. So he was happily eating mud, sitting there. And Yashoda, the mother, said, "What are you doing?" And she took whatever was in his hand and out of his mouth, and she wanted to make sure there was nothing more in his mouth. "Open your mouth." And the little child opens its mouth, and the galaxy is spinning in the mouth. The whole cosmos, all the nebula, everything is in the mouth of this little baby boy. And then she says, "That's all right. You can close your mouth now." That's quite all right. Huh? Yeah. Very nice. It's just so beautiful. And when the Bharatanatyam dancer depicts this, the Bharatanatyam dancer does all this, Krishna songs. And this is called Vatsalya Bhava, a love that is based on the motherly love. And it's kind of a place of power because, usually one goes powerless to God, "Give me this, give me that, wah, wah, wah." And here the mother says, "Open your mouth." But it is out of a sense of devotion. It's a devotional bhava. It is a bhakti. Open your mouth. How dare you do that? How dare you keep on, attacking the pots? See, that is another very, very interesting. Because he keeps attacking the pots of all the milkmaids. Yeah. And steals the butter. Yeah. It's metaphorical. Because he was trying to teach, even in his young age, pot is clay. And there is something better than butter. There is something better than butter. Don't settle for butter. Butter is finite. It gets bad. Yeah. And butter also is a metaphor for karma. So in eating off the butter, he was eating off their karma. He was exhausting their karma for them. He was taking on their karma. So here the mother, in the Bharatanatyam dancer will depict this motherly love for this child, and we should really see if they're really good. We should see them. They make the child. It's all, there is no child. They are first being the child and then depicting the mother. The same action they do. So beautiful. It brings tears to the eyes. It is so moving to watch. Very, very beautiful. So this is the upadhis of Ishvara. The sun is the eye, the moon is an eye, the space is the clothing for which, means it surrounds everything. Yeah. The five elements are the five senses for Ishvara. So, what to talk. This is the upadhi. And when you look at this upadhi of Ishvara, and when you look at the Piva's upadhi, what is there in similarity? None. So the Tattvamasi Vakya has to fail. But wait. But wait, read the next sentence. Upadhi shunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tatpada Lakshyartha. Ishvara also has two meanings. One is the direct meaning, which we just talked about. Baby Krishna's mouth is the Milky Way. But that is the direct meaning. What is the indirect meaning? Indirect meaning is what? Shuddha Chaitanyam. What does Shuddha Chaitanyam mean? Pure consciousness. And what is the indirect meaning of Jiva? That's how the Mahavakya works. Because the identification is with the indirect meaning, not the direct meaning. When you take the direct meaning, it's the cause for sorrow and bondage. When you take the indirect meaning, that very thing is the cause for liberation. Yeah. When you identify that, when you understand the indirect meaning, that is the thing, Evam cha जीवेश्वरयोः चैतन्यरूपेण अभेदे बाधक अभावः. Yeah, evam cha, in this manner. What? Jiveshwarayoho, between the Jiva and the Ishvara. And what is there? Chaitanya Rupena Abhede. Abhede means there being no difference. How there being no difference? Because both of them are consciousness. Ishvara is what? Consciousness. Jiva is what? Consciousness. So because both of them are consciousness, the words Tattvamasi do not have a contradiction. There is no contradiction in Tattvamasi. It upholds. So therefore, we have established the non-duality between Jiva and Ishvara. Then, evam cha vedanta vakyaihi sadguru upadeshena cha sarveshu api bhuteshu yesham brahma buddhi utpanna te जीवन मुक्ताः bhavanti. Evam cha, in this way, Vedanta vakyaihi, through the words and the sentences of Vedanta, upadeshena. Upadesha means what? Teaching. Here, advice, teaching. Yeah. Kasya upadeshena? Guroho upadeshena, because of the teaching of the Sadguru. Guru I knew. Who is this Sadguru? You have to bring in someone else. Sadguru here means the one who knows Sat. And the one who is in the form of Sat. Because here, the one who teaches is the same as, embodies the knowledge that one is. Yeah. One is what one teaches. So therefore, Sadguru, two ways. The Guru whose subject matter is just Sat, or the Guru who knows Sat, or the Guru who is Sat. All those three things you can take. So Guroho Upadeshena, because of the teaching of the Guru, it's very clear here. How do you get past this Upadhi difference? How do you get past the Upadhi trap of the Jiva and the Ishvara? How do you do that? You have to remove the Upadhis, right? No. What do you have to do? Through the teaching, which is what? The sentences of Vedanta, handled properly by a teacher who knows the subject matter and who is able to teach. Sarveshu api bhuteshu, in all beings, means in all jivas, Brahma buddhihi, yesham utpannaha, in all jivas who have submitted themselves to this teaching, the Brahma buddhi is born. Utpanna. What is Brahma buddhi? Seeing past the upadhi without needing to break it. How to see past the upadhi? We need 3D goggles. Right? Yeah. So 3D goggles means that's a different thing. You are still seeing objects. But here what do you need? You need to understand that you need the vision is the goggles are provided by the teaching of the Vedanta, which removes the cataract of the eyes. The cataract is what? Is the feeling, the ajnanam, the feeling that I am as good as this body, mind, sense complex. The firm conviction of not being able to see myself as consciousness is the cataract. The impediment of not being able to see past this upadhi is the see means understand myself past this upadhi is the cataract. And the teaching drops the cataract. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. It's not Saturday 9 o'clock, so back to this. And that is what we are studying on Saturday 9 o'clock. So, Guru Stotram. So now this is what it is. So we have this whole thing where, this cataract has been removed by the teachings. The cataract is identification with the smallness. The cataract is seeing myself only as good as the body, mind, sense complex. The cataract is not being able to see beyond this. And the cataract is also seeing Ishvara as a big guy in the sky. That is another cataract. Both ways the cataract operates. Seeing only the direct meaning of the word Tat and Tvam and not being able to see the indirect meaning and see the identity is the cataract. So whenever the cataract drops, the promise is made by the teacher here, by the guru here, that whenever the cataract drops, what happens? And in whosoever submits themselves to this knowledge, regardless of what their nationality is, what their age is, what they are, the only qualification is they shouldn't have four legs. That's all. So, you know, that is the only qualification, you know. And so, what is the thing? So this is the whole, you know, the for even two legs they can have like birds and all, but still, you know, the brain should not be like a bird. That's all. So they should be in a human body. That's the only qualification. So whosoever is blessed with his understanding, what happens? They drop the ignorance. Says this line, and then in them is born Brahma Buddhi, seeing everything as Brahman. What is Brahman? The name for pure consciousness is Brahman. So seeing everything as Brahman. You are Brahman, I am Brahman, he is Brahman, she is Brahman, it is Brahman, they are Brahman. Sounds like a grammar class, but you know. All this is Brahman, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman. When you say all this is Brahman, you include yourself. So I am Brahman, everything is Brahman. So this Brahma Buddhi, Yesham Utpannaha, in whom I'm talking in an Indian way, in whom this Brahma Buddhi is born, in them, what happens? In all those people, what happens? They all become Jivan Muktas. What is Jivan Muktas? Free while living in this miserable body, mind, sense complex. Free while living in this complex body, mind, sense complex. Yeah. You know, free while being in this body without needing to have some, you know, drastic surgery or plastic surgery. Free while being in the mind without needing to have a lobotomy. Free while being with the, you know, limited senses. Why? Because I know the limitations are not ultimate, are not absolute, are not absolutely real. And so therefore what? I am free. Jivan muktaha bhavanti. Who become Jivan Muktas? Huh? Huh? Those who, how do you not identify? Huh? You become a student, you sit with a teacher and you study Vedanta. It's very clear. Yeah. It's not by having coffee you become a Jivan Mukta. Coffee chases a different kind of brain fog. I highly recommend it. Have your coffee and then come to class. Yeah. Then you won't sleep. Yeah. Then te Jivan Muktaha Bhavanti. Next. Nano. Jivan Muktaha. Kaha. Yeah. Jivan Muktaha Kaha means what? Who is this fellow called Jivan Mukta? But. And who is the one who is saying Nano? The Ahankara is saying Nano. Yeah. The ego, which is attached to identifying itself as I am this many feet tall, I have these many degrees, I have these many pedigrees, and I come from this stock, and I am this, and I am that, and I am, you know, a woman, I am a man, you know, because there's so many deep identifications which don't go away. I am an artist. And these are all certain identifications one lives by. And this is all ahankaric identification. On the body level also there are identifications. You know, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm this tall, I'm this, you know, I'm sick, I'm healthy. These are all identifications. And then on the level of the senses, you know, I have to have small frequent meals every hour. You know, this is an identification. And all these identifications are there and the ego is watching. You know, the Vedanta class progresses and the ego sits back and watches, you know, like that. What is that? That American? Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, like that. Meaning biding time. Yeah. And the ego has a secret pact with the teaching and the teacher. Let's see you remove this ignorance. As long as I'm there, how are you going to remove this ignorance? Ah, just sits back, relaxes, and watches. Let's see how you are going to remove. I'm here now. I'm going to see. And you came yesterday. I have been with this body mind sense complex with some body mind sense complex for several lifetimes. I have been there. Yeah, because the ego migrates from life to life. Ahankara migrates. Karana Sharira migrates. Sukshma Sharira migrates. And so I am I'm not going anywhere. I'm Anadi Jiva. I have no beginning. I'm here. Let's see how you knock me down. Yeah. And then Jivan Mukta, then it gets a little curious. Who? That's new. I thought I was 5 feet so many inches tall. I thought I was this. I thought now there is one new thing. And then the ego thinks, I can add this to the list of accomplishments. Yeah. Jivan Mukta Award certificate. So the ego thinks, I can get this one also. So innocently it asks the questions. Nanu, Jivan Mukta, Kaha. Who is this fellow, Jivan Mukta? Even despite itself, it wants to know. And the teacher says, let's see. Yatha Dehoham Purushoham Brahmanoham Shudroham Asmi Iti Dridha Nishchaya Tadha Naham Brahmanah न शूद्रः न पुरुषः किन्तु असङ्गः सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपः प्रकाश रूपः सर्व अंतर्यामी चिदाकाश रूपः अस्मि इति दृढ निश्चय रूप अपरोक्ष ज्ञानवान् जीवन मुक्तः. So this is very interesting because just as one is convinced, I am this tall, I am as good as this body, I am as good as the mind, I am as good as the senses, I am Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all these things, whatever categories, those were the categories in the olden times, so those are the categories that are being there, any categories. I am working class, that's a category. I am a rich person, that's another category. I am middle class, that's another category. These are all categories, and the categories have to go. The categories which are there, which I have firmly convinced myself I am. And even though in Vedanta class we say all this, and then later on we'll say, I'm not like this, I'm not like that, I don't like this, I don't like that, correct? Naturally those things come. What this I am is just a shell. Yeah. That's why one is always in shell shock if one identifies with the shell. It's a shell, it's a skeleton. It's nothing. What you are is a bunch of likes and dislikes. Nothing. So this is all just false identification. I am this way, I am not that way, I should be like this, I should not be like this. And while some people identify with what they are and what they have, there are other people that identify with what they are not and what they don't have. This is going back to the classic, what is that? Nietzschean philosophy. Nietzsche talked about this, and he said there are two categories of people. I mean, problematic it was because of it was misused by the Nazis, and I think he himself may have had some tendencies, we don't know. But the thing is that, it was something which was very profound, and that's why it continues to be studied. So he said there are two categories of people: the people who identify with master morality. He called them two ideal type moralities: master morality, and then what was the other one? Slave morality. Yeah. And then he says master morality people always identify from the feeling of affirming, things. I am so and so. And whereas the quote unquote slave morality people who buy into that identify themselves with I am not rich, I am not healthy, I am not qualified, I am not good enough, I am not adequate, I am not complete, I am lacking, I can't do this well, I'm useless, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless. So these are the two moralities. He contrasted this dichotomy. And then he had this his own understanding of what was a enlightened person. He called it a super person, Ubermensch, or something like that. And this enlightened person, he says, he has transcended these moralities. Very close to this. This is what we are talking about. So whether I identify with the words I have, I am, or I identified with the using the words I am not, I don't have, I am not, I lack, both are one and the same. The grip of both is the same. So our words, our words for the master and the slave morality are what? Karta, bhokta. Think about it. It's so fascinating. Karta means I am, I do, I am. Everything is because of me. And bhokta is nobody cares, nobody loves, everybody has put me out in a cardboard box, nobody is there. No, I'm not good enough, I'm not well enough, I'm not qualified enough, I'm not. So whether you're saying I am, I have Sahasranama, or whether you're saying to yourself, what I don't have, I am not, and usually those are all ideal type differences. Usually one is a mixture of the two. Sometimes karta, sometimes bhokta, both are there. And so these, as convinced as you are about your status in this whole scheme of these moralities or karta bhokta scale, when you are equally convinced that you are that Brahman which is free of all these categories, which is consciousness, which is not in any way, qualified by anything at all, and which is Satchidananda, which is Prakasha Rupaha, which is of the nature of light, self illumined light, and which is in the heart of every being, which is as free as space. When you are as firmly convinced of it, as firmly as you are about being a man, a woman, having and not having, then you will also be called Jivan Muktaha, says the teacher. Very nice. Yeah, wonderful. More we shall see on Friday. Yeah, we'll read the next part and then we'll say the final the chant. ब्रह्मैव अहमस्मीति अपरोक्ष ज्ञानेन निखिल कर्म बन्ध विनिर्मुक्तिः स्यात्. So what happens as a result of this knowledge? One is free of karma. When it is gained directly, when you know it as you know yourself, as you know anything, as you know your name, as convinced as you are about all these categories, when you become equally convinced and abiding in the knowledge of that which is without categories, because of which all categories exist, then you are free, and you are called Jivan Mukta, means free while living. Free of what? The sense of bondage from karma. How? We will see that on Friday. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Harihi Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Questions? Oh, bada question here. What happens to people who do not have access to this knowledge? Will they keep going through births and deaths until mukti? Then this earth will always exist. Well, that's not that they don't have access to the knowledge. Access to the knowledge is also based on karma. Yeah. Initially, who wanders into the class, etc. And earth will exist as long as karmas need to be exhausted. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So isn't human animal just another category too?
Yes, absolutely another category. But the human animal, the difference we make is only to show that the animal is already free of complexes. It doesn't need this knowledge. Ah,
And the other question I had was space that we live in. Isn't it sort of like a fish in a water? Because our space has things in it. We can fill up a balloon, for example, with air. We're not up in the pure space.
no, it doesn't matter.
Just
Our
another
space is
word.
qualified by atmosphere. That's all.
It's just another.
It doesn't matter. Still, we use the word space.
So, if we're all like the one, Ishvara, then even if one of us is exposed to Vedanta, doesn't everybody benefit?
I wish.
The
The question is, if all is one, then if one is exposed to Vedanta, it's enough. Only Guru should get the knowledge.
I'm just wondering if it helps,
I wish. If Guru got the knowledge, why should student, work so hard to get the knowledge? Well, unfortunately, the Jiva is that one body, mind, sense complex ahankara. Yeah. So each Jiva has ajnanam, correct? Ajnanam is it's not covering everything. Ajnanam is covering that individual body, mind, sense complex. Yeah. And that is who that is what each one has to do their own work. Yeah. After that, you can say all is one. But before the one is convinced that one is not all, right? Ah. I'll tell online. Question was, why, if all is one and if everyone is Ishvara, why should each one have to work for enlightenment and Jivan Mukti? Yeah, why can't just Guru get the knowledge and everybody gets it? Nice try. Other questions?
I had a question.
Yeah, what was the
about vritti, how,
Yeah, what about vritti?
how like we say, okay, this is orange.
This is orange, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thought goes,
Yeah.
And how does it work the same way with the words?
The words
And
of what? Which words? If I say orange, yeah,
Yeah.
you will see the orange. But if I say Brahman, what are you going to see?
Yes.
What are you going to see? If I say Brahman, what do you see? Tell me, what do you
That's the
see?
question.
You don't see anything. That's why I said every vritti has two operations. One is called vritti vyapti, where the mind sort of brings up a picture of what needs to be known, and then the orange is shown, and the orange matches with what is seen inside, correct? That is the second part of the cognition, which is called phala vyapti. So, but in this one, the vritti, when we talk about you are the whole, when I say you are pure consciousness, you don't see consciousness, but you know consciousness. Why? Because you are it. It is self-shining, correct? So the second one, phalavyapti, enveloping the thing with its, the thought enveloping the object is not there. The thought, there is the Brahman thought cannot and need not envelop Brahman as an object, because first of all, Brahman is not an object, it's the subject, and since it is self-shining, it need not be revealed by that portion of the vritti. So the only portion that is needed is the first portion. You are Brahman, you understand, something happens. Yeah, for a minute one stops feeling sad. So that itself shows, okay, it has worked. Ah,
And Shravan, I was
Shravanam, listening.
yes,
Yeah,
listening. And what's the quality in it? Like when you listen to Pujya Swamiji,
yeah.
how do you do it?
When I listen to the teacher, I listen to the teacher without any, what's its name, distractions. Yeah. All my whole body is there, my mind is there, my senses are there. That is how one has to develop to, listen. So the mind will go somewhere. Naturally, that's the mind. But you have to bring it back. And it becomes more than listening, it becomes like a meditation. You keep bringing the mind back and you let go of whatever else is happening and who is coming, who is going, where they went, what is cat doing, all this we don't, that's why the teaching space is very sacred. That's why we say the mantra, after the mantra, we sit and listen. The mantra is the beginning